On August 13, 1521, in the lake city of Tenochtitlan, the siege ended and a world changed. This battle still matters because it reshaped Mexico, the Spanish Empire, and the history of conquest itself. Tenochtitlan stood at the center of a powerful Mexica alliance system fed by tribute, trade, and military prestige. Around it, many subject cities carried old resentments that would shape the coming war. The Spanish expedition arrived as a fragile coalition, reliant on allies, interpreters, and luck as much as force. Its leaders faced hunger, disease, and the risk of being cut off far from home. Across the city, the Mexica ruler and his commanders had to defend a capital built for water, not for a long siege. They fought under pressure to protect honor, authority, and the survival of the city. The armies were not symmetrical. Steel, horses, crossbows, and cannon met obsidian blades, shields, slings, spears, and thousands of allied warriors moving through a landscape of canals and stone roads. Supplies mattered as much as courage. Food, water, weapons, and canoes had to be moved across causeways and lake channels, while morale rose and fell with each raid, rumor, and setback. Before the final siege, the route to Tenochtitlan passed through alliances, broken truces, and hard marches through highland valleys. Each step brought the attackers closer to the lake and deeper into danger. The battlefield was shaped by water, narrow roads, and summer weather. Shallow lakebeds, canals, and sudden storms could slow movement, hide ambushes, and turn a controlled advance into confusion. The Spanish and their allies aimed to isolate the city, cut movement on the water, and advance methodically along the causeways. The Mexica plan relied on mobility, local knowledge, and repeated counterattacks. At the opening of the siege, attacks came by land and water at once. The first clashes were less about a single decisive charge than about probing defenses and testing how much the city could absorb. For the defenders, the pressure point was the causeway network. If those stone roads were held or broken, the city could still maneuver. If they were lost, the siege tightened quickly. The attackers answered with careful engineering and relentless movement. Brigantines on the lake, repaired roads, and coordinated advances slowly reduced the defenders' freedom to strike and withdraw. The city did not fall in one moment. It weakened through hunger, exhaustion, disrupted water access, and the steady loss of safe movement across neighborhoods and channels. As the siege deepened, every advance became harder to reverse. The attacking coalition learned to push, retreat, and return, while the defenders struggled to keep pace with shifting fronts. Morale on both sides was shaped by uncertainty. The besiegers feared a sudden reversal, while the defenders faced the growing reality that even a great city could be isolated. The decisive movement came when coordinated pressure narrowed the defenders' options across land and water. Once the attackers could sustain that pressure, the city's strategic flexibility began to disappear. In the final phase, resistance continued block by block and canal by canal. But the balance had shifted, and the defenders could no longer restore the city's earlier reach or momentum. When the city surrendered, the immediate aftermath was exhaustion, uncertainty, and the beginning of occupation. Survivors had to face a new political order built on the ruins of the old one. The fall of Tenochtitlan did not end indigenous history. It began a long period of adaptation, resistance, and survival. New institutions, forced labor, and disease transformed life across central Mexico. In the years that followed, the city was remade into Mexico City. Temples were dismantled, canals changed, and the lake landscape gradually gave way to a colonial capital built over older foundations. Historians still debate numbers, motives, and the exact sequence of events. The sources are partial, often partisan, and shaped by conquest, memory, and later political needs. One enduring question is how much the siege depended on Spanish technology versus indigenous alliance networks. Most careful histories now emphasize coalition warfare rather than a simple story of Europeans alone. Another debate concerns disease and timing. Epidemics weakened the city before and during the siege, but historians continue to weigh how those losses interacted with military pressure. The battle also remains a story of indigenous agency. Many native communities chose sides for their own reasons, and those decisions shaped the outcome as much as any single commander. Today, the center of Mexico City still rests on layered ground where the lake city once stood. Streets, plazas, and foundations conceal traces of a place that was transformed, but never fully erased. Archaeology continues to recover fragments of the past beneath modern pavement. Each discovery helps connect the living city to the older world of canals, temples, and causeways. Seen from above, the old lake basin is almost invisible, yet its shape still influences the city. The geography that once protected Tenochtitlan now survives as memory, drainage, and subsidence. The battle endures because it was not only a military event, it was a turning point in language, land, religion, labor, and power, with consequences that still echo across centuries. The siege of Tenochtitlan was brutal in its persistence, not in spectacle. Its importance lies in how ordinary logistics, alliances, and geography can decide the fate of empires. For the Mexica and their allies, the struggle was about survival and sovereignty. For the invaders, it became a test of endurance far beyond the scale they had first imagined. The city's fall was not inevitable from the beginning. It emerged from shifting alliances, tactical adaptation, and the cumulative strain of siege on a densely connected lake metropolis. Even now, the battle invites caution. Sources written after the conquest preserve memory, but they also reflect the winners, the defeated, and the politics of later generations. That caution does not lessen the scale of what happened. It helps us see the event more clearly as a human struggle shaped by choices, constraints, and unequal power. At the center of the story is a city built brilliantly for water and trade, then trapped by the same geography that once made it strong. The lake was both shield and snare. The battle's legacy is visible in Mexico's national memory, in scholarship, and in the urban ground beneath modern streets. It remains a foundational episode in the making of colonial Mexico. To study Tenochtitlan is to study adaptation under pressure. It reminds us that history is often decided not by one dramatic moment, but by sustained endurance and accumulated loss.